Buy Black for Life, Buy Black for Life family. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome to an evening with black men who are for her. And we're not just talking about Kamala, we're also talking about black women. So I welcome everyone who will be watching this, whether you are watching it live or you're watching it on replay via YouTube. I got two of my aces on here right now. I got more brothers coming through, but I just wanted to not hesitate. Let's get this started. And my name is Jerome, founder, CEO of Buy Black for Life. Um, I am in New York, and I'm just going to jump it off with my cuz, Conrad. Conrad, tell us where you are. Black man, how are you doing? What's the vibe where you are right now? If you could start us off.
So, all right. So, hello everyone. My name is Conrad. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and pretty much I'm doing well. The vibe here in Atlanta is, matter of fact, I live right down the street from the Harris campaign office, right down the street.
Mhm.
So I can literally walk out my door, go about a couple of blocks, and I'm right there. Matter of fact, I discovered that this by accident, and I have volunteered there a couple of times doing some canvassing. Matter of fact, I'm going to do some canvassing this Saturday
Nice.
for the campaign. So help to
Okay.
get, make sure we touch bases with those who are, have voted Democratic in the past, and those who are registered Democratic voters as well. Make sure they get out. So the vibe here, I think, is very much a vibe that is optimistic.
Okay. I appreciate that, especially down in Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia's a big state. It's very important. What are the feelings about the local races? Because as much as we focus on that, it is really those down ballot races that can significantly impact our communities. How about those? What's the feeling there, Conrad?
So for us, the last election in 2000s when we had both Senate seats up,
Hmm.
and of course, they said that Georgia flipped the Senate with our two senators. So this time we don't have that going on. What we do have locally, we do have the Fannie Willis is running
Okay.
again
Okay.
for the
DA.
Yep, for the DA. So
Okay.
she's running that position. I do believe it's the first time there's been a Republican uh, candidate for that position as well in a while.
Oh
So
wow.
I definitely think that she's going to win.
Okay.
But also with that, though, with the Georgia state legislature, they're pretty much trying to remove her out of that position at the same time,
Got you.
due to the what is going on with with those, I think it was 19 indictments that was made over the election. Trump trying to get those 12,000 plus or so votes.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see how I think she's definitely going to win. But it'll
Right.
be interesting to see what happens as far as the state legislature and their investigation goes.
Got you. Okay. Thank you for that. Ja, my brother, my man. Listen, Buy Black for Life family. If y'all don't know Ja, y'all need to know Ja. Um, he is a brother. Ja, I think we go back 17, 18 years, brother. Just vibing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you are my brother. All you got to do is say, "Yo, Jay," and I'm in
No doubt.
anything. That's the love that we have for each other. We challenge each other as brothers. We see differently some of the time on sports, but the love and the respect I got for this brother knows no bounds. Ja, please tell us where you are, what you do, what's the vibe where you are.
So I want to make sure. Let me make sure I get this hat in there first. I need people to understand.
Come on now.
From New York City, this is my team. Okay, I just want to be clear. Right? Uh, I'm out here in Charlotte, North Carolina, metro area here. The vibes here is very different. I want to say firstly that I do not like politics,
Right.
and I'm saying that for a reason. Because somebody's going to be watching this and be like, I don't want to hear this politics stuff. But here's the thing: as much as you don't like it, you have to live with it.
Right.
It is what it is. And so the vibe here is very interesting. They even had people coming around asking who you were voting for and stuff like that, which was really different for me.
Okay.
But I'm realizing they're doing that because they're trying to keep from making sure that things is on the up and up, if you would.
Okay.
So it's very interesting here. I think that this is another one of those states that can go either way.
Okay.
I really strongly feel like there are more black people voting.
Hmm.
I got a vibe that there are, and when we went, because I voted already, my vote is already in. I'm not playing no
Same
game.
here. Same
I
here.
went, man. Let me get Kamala right now. Boom, 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 boom. Mama, boom, done. And so, but what I noticed in line was, and it's interesting. I rolled into the parking lot, right? So everybody's got their tents, got to be a certain distance away.
Right.
But it was very few people at the Republican tent. There was
Okay.
people in line, which you don't know who they're voting for, whatever. But
Right.
there was more black people in line than I normally would see, especially early voting. We don't vote
Early voting. Right. Right.
early voting. A lot of teachers, a lot of instructors, some nursery folks, people was in education, they were there. And I just have a really strong feeling that the sister's gonna come through.
Okay.
And it is what it is, man. They just trying to put fear in us. That's all.
All right. All right. I also know you guys have a big and it's made waves throughout the country. Your governor, right? The governor's race.
Yeah. Yeah.
My question is, do you think what's happened with the governor's race is going to have an effect on the presidential race?
That's a very good question. I am really nervous about that position.
Okay.
For a number of reasons. Firstly, I want to say that the governor we have now, right, appointed the very first African American poet laureate of this state.
Okay.
And ever, and also happened to be an African American woman. So it was
I
like
know. I got to meet her. God bless her. Yes.
Right. Jackie Shelton Green.
Yes.
And so I love her to pieces. Her birthday is Juneteenth.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
So what makes me nervous is only people who are not paying attention. Because the other gentleman whose name I'm just not mentioning his name.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A lot of the things that he says is right along with number 45.
Right.
Right along.
Right.
Right along.
Right.
And I strongly believe that he's banking on that being his winning ticket.
Got it.
Doesn't necessarily mean that I think he's going to win. I'm just not really sure. Like I'm not getting any feedback saying yay or nay with that. I don't really know.
So
but
no vibe one way or another.
Yeah, he's made some noise here though. There are a lot of people on that side that like what he's saying because they like that. But I also know that a lot of people are like, listen, enough is enough, man. We so I'm not really sure because I'm not hearing the vibe, but I don't in my opinion, I don't think he's leadership worthy.
Got you.
And I think a lot of people agree with that.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I got another family member. He don't know he's family to me, but I'm hey cuz, what's good? Cameron Hurt. Listen, your pop shared, what's good, family? Your pop shared something with me that blew me away about what it is that you were doing out here, with respect to politics, with respect to what you're doing in the social media realm, in the media realm. Just introduce yourself to us. I know your pops already know, and so I know he's proud of you, but introduce us to who you are, what it is you do, and where you're at right now, Cam.
Well, thank you so much, just for inviting me and thinking of me to have me on this platform. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Cameron Hurt. I currently reside in Honolulu, Hawaii. I am a current city commissioner in Honolulu. I'm also a past representative for our district neighborhood boards out here, so some very localized government. In addition, I am also the program manager and run the state of Hawaii's Common Cause Division for Government Watchdog and Accountability. So I'm always, trying to hold our legislators, state and local, accountable.
Okay.
While also providing good government bills, right? Not really partisan bills that are going to just proportionally affect us all in a positive way. I'm lobbying for those bills. I'm writing those bills. I'm introducing those bills, anything like that. Always
that.
fighting for the transparency and for the sunshine in government, so that we all as citizens can see our government work for us as it should.
Man, I love to hear that. So that man, I got goosebumps. And Conrad, I know you are a proud father, man. Love that. Conrad, Cam, can you just tell me what's the vibe, at least on Honolulu? And Honolulu is beautiful. I've been all over Hawaii. Next time I'm there, I'm hollering. Trust me.
Yes.
What's the vibe in Hawaii around what's going on with this election?
We're terrified.
Mm,
We're absolutely terrified. Hawaii is a Democratic supermajority state, so that needs to be said first.
okay.
Something to remember is that when the Trump administration first came into office, one of the things they first did that disproportionately affected my community was they passed their travel ban. As a practicing Sufi Muslim, that raised great concern to me.
Right.
The pride that I had in my heart
Mm,
that my state was the first state within an hour to sue the Trump administration for that. And that's what we remember. We remember having to be proactive. We remember
yes.
having to codify things and say things that never really needed to be said. Right now, I'm working on a constitutional amendment with other legislators and community partners, and it's a nonsensical constitutional amendment. It's a constitutional amendment to equal marriage, regardless of your orientation. Now, Hawaii passed equal marriage law. Was one of the first states to do so back in 2012, I do believe. Now, what we have to do, though, is we have to go back and codify and ingrain this in our state constitution, because we don't want a situation like Roe
Well,
where
that could be overturned. Yeah.
rights get taken away.
Right.
And we know from Judge Clarence Thomas, that one of the things that he is looking at is not only the loving decision of interracial marriage, but even the sodomy of same-sex marriages. So these are things we're having to be proactive about, which is stopping us from progressing good government even forward. Because we're having to say, hey, it's a bad idea to have a Klansman at your rally.
Amen. Preach that. So thank you, man. Woo, this is gonna be fire. The next brother, and he's down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and me and this brother go back 20 plus years. Some of the skull sessions we used to have. Now imagine, brothers, imagine me sitting down and talking, and I'm silent because this brother has the mic. Like, Mike, it's been a minute. I love you, brother. Michael Garcia, down there in Charlotte, North Carolina. First of all, tell us where you are. Tell us, bro, what's the vibe where you are?
Well, first, let me just say, what's up, Brother Small?
Oh, y'all know.
What up, bro?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pass it across. Jerome, thank you so much for inviting me, and to all the gentlemen that are on this. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here. As Jerome has mentioned, we used to work together. We used to sit in that cafeteria and just rap the taste a little bit about just about any topic under the sun that we were allowed to in the corporate space. I am here in Charlotte. I have now made 22 years, but I flow between New York and Harlem. I mean, between Charlotte and Harlem, because my family's still in Harlem. My creative side of things is still wrapped up in Harlem. The vibe down here is one of anticipation that good will happen, and anticipation that chaos will ensue. That is the reality of this race. I just finished watching Vice President Harris up in DC, and as succinct as her message would be, you would think that more people would be on board. I am an information junkie. I follow these things. It is striking to me that we're still on the margins. We're still 50-50-ish, which says a lot about this country. And again, I'm coming off the heels of Sunday at MSG. And let me just say that I see John with his Knicks hat. Jerome knows I bleed orange and blue. So for someone to have a rally at MSG and desecrate that hollow ground, to me, as an Afro-Latino, as a Puerto Rican man from the Bronx and Harlem, it hit me to my core. And Jerome, you saw the work that I put in on my page, honoring my mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother from the island of Puerto Rico. I think that was a tipping point for me personally. Regardless of this outcome, I've never been one to be quiet. I use my creative space now in poetry and in the play that I've written on mental health. but it spurred me on to action. So apart from next Tuesday, I have a lot of energy wrapped around the ignorance. There's a lot of ignorance. And I think when you say the vibe, there is still so much ignorance that we could have people stand on stage, desecrate the island of Puerto Rico in what they call joking. And then I see the news account of people who are of Puerto Rican descent still undecided. And I'm saying to myself, what are we undecided about?
Their proximity to whiteness.
Exactly. So for me, Jerome, the vibe is that regardless of the election, for me personally, as a man of color, as an Afro-Latino, as a grandfather now, as a person that's working with a lot of young people, it is my job to leave a legacy, and I'm using the art form of theater to do that. I've struck gold. I'm working with Morehouse now to get my play on their campus in February. So that's a big win. I'll be in New York next week, matter of fact, for another theater event. But to encapsulate all of this, I am spurred on to action. That's the best way I can put it. Thank you so much.
I think your volume went off.
Can you hear me better?
Yep.
Okay, Ja, if you can you send a link to Wits? I'd love to have him on so he could join us. The link to getting on. Tell him, please jump in. I'd love to hear his perspective. Love to hear from him. So please, if you could get that to him. Because I see he's in the chat. Wits, we see you. We love you. Please join us, man. We'd love to hear you and your perspective, brother. I want to stay on Conrad. Cam, I heard you say proximity to whiteness, right? And I think that's a big thing that some of us are kind of ignoring. Speak to proximity to whiteness, how that is affecting the electorate.
It's affecting the electorate in a huge way. First, as a black male, I'm very cognizant of what issues I step into other cultures to speak about, because I know what it is like to be an outsider coming in. So you really do need to make sure you do your due diligence and in good faith. And in that, I say that to say my background in this comes from one, just being a father to a white passing Puerto Rican son. Okay.
Gotcha. Yes.
So having to raise him in his culture of being Taino, of even though you are light skinned, you can't run from your African heritage. Your family just got raped earlier.
Right.
And in that, but what I think I've learned, even as he is now branched off as he's a grown man and in enjoying his own community, is that he's seeing the difference that he has between some of his Puerto Rican or Cuban counterparts who are of his skin tone or lighter, versus what he knows it is, because he has a very dark-skinned African-American father.
Right.
And he can't understand why they're not understanding that, hey, it's you they're talking about too. It is you too. And it is that proximity to whiteness that sometimes people feel that they can be alleviated from it. And I think Puerto Rico is an example. Puerto Ricans are an example, excuse me. But also, I can also say this about the Muslim community too. When we talk about, the genocide in Gaza and how that has backlashed against Kamala Harris, I'm a huge supporter of Palestinian liberation, always will be. However, I find it interesting that it is the Arab genocide perpetuated by white-appearing people that is our moral cry. However, the Chinese genocide against the Uyghur people who have been in internment camps, forced labor camps, Muslims, not that same energy.
Gotcha.
For the Sudanese people who are being slaughtered, Darfurians, Sub-Saharans, Nubians, Black Africans who are being slaughtered, genocided by the RSF, by the Arab militias, there's not that same energy.
Right.
These groups certain groups have always been able to flirt with an idea of a proximity to whiteness. And this is the ultimate way to test that. And I wouldn't say that I put this on them as a bad thing. I think people are doing this out of fear. I think we all sat in a 5th grade class, and one day we were like, our teacher asked, well, we wouldn't do this if we were there, would we? And we all said, no, we would fight, we would stand. But we're seeing people who can choose, not because they're bad people, but for lack of better words, but the truest definition, they're cowards. And we have to accept that from them is what I would say. And I would say also, again, just so we're not just, because again, it's across board, Puerto Ricans, Arabs, and even with Asian Americans. We've now seen a study come out, and the same group that sued to end affirmative action is now suing the top 3 Ivy League schools because their Asian enrollment dropped.
Yes, I saw that.
Wow, their African American enrollment stayed the same. There's always been this idea that they're the others, but you could possibly flirt and come along with us,
right?
Even though you never could, and we, the others, always knew that. They're learning that the hard way.
And you know, as a father and now a grandfather to Black and now Asian kids, my son's wife is Japanese. They live in Japan. I think it's intentional. When I heard I was going to be a grandfather to twins, the first thing I said is, they're going to learn this side of the family. I'm going to ensure that is important. And my son and I had conversations, and he let me know, yes, Dad, it is important that they learn that. So thank you for that, Cam. Ja, you work with a lot of young people and what it is you do. Conrad, I know you do, as well as Mike, Cam. Talk about the young people. What are you hearing in conversations with young people? Because when I hear people say that Black men are not for her, I feel like they're not talking about our generation, that they might be talking about a younger generation. Am I off in that thinking, bro?
I don't think so. And that's an excellent question. Let me say this first. I want to mention my grandfather's also Boricua.
That's right. I did see that. I'm sorry. Yes. Please speak on that. Yes.
Yeah. And so I align with being Puerto Rican as well. And I was also raised Muslim. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk to that idea of even how, because he was talking about how the Arabs, they count when there's money involvement, and other than that, they don't count, right? That's just how it is. But we also have to remember this too. If we're going to look at history, what in fact is an Arab? There's no such thing as an Arab.
Gotcha.
It is just another way of saying I'm not quite white, but I'm not going to be Black. That's it. And so when you look at that, you understand why they are only pawns without the financial situation being a big thing. And so that goes back to understanding what government is able to do. Here's the thing. We wanted Barack to do everything.
Yes. But
we gave him nothing to work with. That's number one.
Yes, sir.
Number two, we voted. Absolutely. But we didn't fund Barack. Who funded Barack? When you go look at the policies of the people in charge, they put policies together for people who fund them and people who collectively give them something to go with.
Yes.
That's why you have all these other nationalities that have these anti-hate crime bills, because they go as a group and say, this is what it is. The issue I'm always having, and I want to get to your question, the issue I'm always having with us is we're always talking about a Black agenda, and we don't have one.
Yes, sir.
This is president and vice president of the United States of America.
Yes, sir.
It's never going to be Black people of America. It's the United States of America. What I get from that is united is the only way we're going to get something. And we're so far apart that it's ridiculous. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Talking about the young people, it's not even just the young people, it's the young-minded folks as well. We live in an era of reality TV, and there's so many adult-age people who are drunken by celebrity.
Social media.
It doesn't matter. 45 is only huge because 45 is in TV, because it's a celebrity.
Right.
And this is not just trickling with the young people, because it's got a hold on them, definitely.
It definitely
not
does.
as much.
Okay.
You don't have most of the young people that are confused are young people who don't read. And I'm going to say it. That's what it is. The ones that don't read, that only go through social media, they listen to what attains to their heart and what makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Because they don't have no direction and they don't read to get direction. If you read, you realize the vice president doesn't have much control. It's not much they can do. They're given their things. This is what you do. And when I need you, I'll call you.
It's the agenda of the president. Yes.
And the president. And so and the beautiful thing about Trump and his foolery, and I know I don't normally say his name, but the beautiful thing about him and his foolery is he proves that every time.
Yes.
He says Kamala, it's Biden, it's Biden this and Biden this and Biden that and Biden this. It's never solely Kamala.
Yes.
It's always Biden. And young people, right? The beautiful thing about these young people is that they're fearless.
They are definitely fearless.
They are fearless.
They are.
The major issue with the young people is that they don't have anybody in position as a leader
to guide them,
can attain to or trust.
Yes.
Right. So we have these celebrities and this Mr. Umar person who comes out and where's the black agenda, right? And I'm sick of him and Ice Cube every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
Hold your vote. Hold your vote. Listen to me. If you're listening and watching this, understand this. Holding your vote is a vote for the opposition. Holding your vote is saying yes to police immunity. Holding your vote is saying yes to stop and frisk. Holding your vote is saying yes, women need to listen to what everybody else tells them about their body. That's what holding your vote is. And this holding your vote, oh my goodness, holding your vote is giving a vote to someone who says, you know what? All I have is concepts. For 9 years that I've been trying to be in this political game, all I have is concepts. For 9 years. Count them. It's been 9 years. The only thing he can tell you is I have concepts. So if you're young, I'm telling you now, I'm not telling you don't like your celebrities. I'm not telling you don't love your celebrities. What I'm telling you is let them be entertainers and celebrities. Those are not political figures. They don't understand politics. And that's the issue with the young people. They don't have somebody that they could believe in because they're so far away from what grandma taught us. Grandma taught us some things, bro.
Yes.
Granddad said some things.
Yes.
That drunken uncle, they switched that drunken uncle for a crackhead, and now he on pills. He don't have the same conversation no more.
Yes.
And they told us some things. You ain't gonna do what? Oh, yes, you are.
Yes.
You be 45 in your own house with your own kids, paying your own mortgage. Let grandma tell you something. 19, 20, 25. Okay, cool. And then they go get on their phone and just disregard. You know why? They're so tired of, and it's not that we failed. I don't think we had everything we needed to make things work, but it was the disunity that hurt us. They're so tired of hearing, oh, a change is going to come. You can't run that. That day is over.
We have to make those changes. Yeah.
And they don't have somebody that they believe in, that they trust to say, here's the change you want.
Right.
We just tell them to go vote. And it's not enough.
Got you, brother. Comrade, how about you? What are you hearing from the young people that you interact with? I know, are you still coaching? I know you're coaching.
Yeah, I did a little bit this summer.
Okay.
So I'm going to mainly speak in reference to the younger people who I work with. And some of the things I've gotten from them has been just heartbreaking for me. You know, I shared one of them with you the other day. Yesterday, you know, and I think one of the issues is that they just don't have a basic understanding of our history as a people. They don't have a basic understanding of how our government in this country functions and works. They don't have a basic understanding of just fact checking on your own, not depending on the media or someone else to fact check yourself. And they lack common sense not to believe everything you see on social media. Right. And I think that is like the misinformation out here is real. Now I have a little background. So I was in the Army. One of my first unit I was in is a psychological operation unit. It's called PSYOPs, right? And the whole purpose of PSYOP is to influence the enemy to get them to do what we want to do. I thought when I first joined the Army and got in that, I thought this is the craziest thing. This stuff ain't gonna work. They got to get out of here with this nonsense, right? And so one time I was talking with an officer, right? And I was like, hey, so we're doing this, what they're doing to us. And this at this time is with the Soviet Union. And they said one of the things that the Soviet Union, which we can now call Russia, would do would be to impact or have PSYOP campaigns against us in reference to our racial divide.
Wow.
And I'd be doggone, I'm like 35 years removed from that conversation. And here we are.
We can see it.
We have that, and it's definitely probably coming from outside entities. So, no, for the most part, I'm going to be real. I think Trump is definitely probably heavily influenced from Putin.
Correct.
I think to me, there's no doubt about it. You know, so there's two things going on here. Some of you guys, I think, is older enough. All you guys, maybe except for Cameron, but he got a little history, so he knows about this. All he heard during the 70s, 80s, and part of the 90s was how Russia was this evil empire. Matter of fact, Reagan gave them that title, the evil empire.
I remember.
So all of a sudden, they're not evil no more. So somebody lying somewhere. Either Reagan lied, they was an evil empire, or either my man here, the dude, Trump is lying about them not being an evil empire. Somewhere, somebody's lying, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, like, we have to, I think sometimes we lack critical thinking. Like, I think Cameron can also, you know, kind of witness this. One thing I did, because I wanted my kids to be somewhat street smart. They went in the streets, but I just wanted to be somewhat street smart.
Absolutely.
I used to tell them anything. I'm talking about anything, right? Anything. And if they believe it, I'm like, does that really sound cool you to believe or whatever? Them, so as they got older to realize, I'm not believing what that man's saying. There's no way that's real, you know? And I think that we lack that understanding now because we seem to think collectively that whatever you see on social media is the truth.
It's the truth, yes, sir.
And it's not the truth.
Sir.
We got people out here believing, like Michael talked about, this guy just talked about the whole island of Puerto Rico. That's Puerto Rican motherland. You talk about the whole island?
Yes.
It's a place of garbage.
Yeah.
And we got other people, Puerto Rican descent, who's saying, and I saw a CNN interview where it's talking to Puerto Ricans in Philadelphia. And they're like, well, that's okay. I'm still going to vote for him. I'm like,
you got to be kidding me.
What? You still going to vote for him? You got to be kidding me.
Wow.
And even we got to take responsibility for our own self. For those young men who are African American, I'm with you, Jerome. They probably not within our generation, but they are just misinformed. For someone to tell me, an African American male, tell me that Kanye says that slavery was a choice. I'm looking at how rape, murder,
so sad.
Separation of family is a choice. I don't know any human being who's I'm gonna choose this over here. That's
no human being, especially coming
back a little bit, just
especially
real quick
coming from Africa. Come on now.
In defense of young people here, real quick though, because I coach. I've been a coach for the past 15 years. To that point, I actually just talked to one of my students who was filling out their ballot in North Carolina. And that's why coaching is important, right? Because this is an Asian young man who, having the impact of a Black coach, has now made him see the world differently when he left this island and went to North Carolina.
Okay.
And I hear what everybody is saying about, the youth believe the things on social media. But pause, because you guys' generation definitely eats it up. And I would almost warn people to not take social media anymore as a matrix, because it is so contaminated with bots. Part of what I do in my professional capacity is election protection. So I have an office on the continent that is all throughout the day scanning social media accounts, and specifically ones that I send them to. And what we find is that majority of social media is actually not active people. So when you see kids actually talking, these may not actually be real kids. They may just want to look that way so they're more appealing. But what I would say while we're talking about the candidacy of Vice President Harris for president, I would push back that the older generation has a bit of misogyny that they still need to work through.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Oh, okay, because I don't think we all.
I was going to get to that.
So
okay,
are you
social
talking?
Media is our Achilles.
That was coming. I was getting to that.
Are you talking AI? Are you talking AI with respect to?
There is a mixture of AI. I actually just passed a bill in Hawaii this past term to stop AI in elections. You do have an AI issue, But no, you have exactly what I have to say my dad, because I don't feel like I call him by his name.
Listen, you family, do what you got to do.
My dad said about psychological operations. It's real. What Russia does is they get random European profiles, random African profile pictures, will put them up to somebody, and in a farm, almost like a call center, will have them create content and push it out as if I'm a black man named Jerome.
Gotcha.
Or you have somebody who recently got exposed for, I think he was called like the Black Insurrectionist. Over 800,000 followers on Twitter. He was the black person that white people could easily go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just found out that that's a fat 35-year-old man in Nebraska who's been wanted for different crimes by the FBI and owes taxes to the tune of about a couple $100,000. Okay. Now, this is what I want to warn us all about, because the way that we can take that information and feel like black people aren't going to vote for Kamala, I have yet to meet the people who they talking to, and I talk to a lot of people that I agree with.
And I'm gonna get to that.
Okay, so that would be my own thing. It's just don't believe the hype.
Let me finish up.
Comrade, yes, I was going to
finish up.
Yes,
so
please.
What Cameron talking about bots, he's absolutely correct. But my other statement is going to be that we have to realize we got to get our information. I tell Cameron this all the time. You got to get your information from reliable sources. Reliable sources, 3 reliable sources, and you got to get your information from journalists. Don't get your information from podcasters. You know, get your information from reliable sources. Get 3 references or whatever you may be speaking about. But Cameron also about the misogyny. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing there. So with that, like, I don't understand, right? I'm probably maybe a unicorn here in that I was not raised with a mom. My father raised me, right? Okay. So with that, I don't understand how we have men of color who was raised by their moms all of a sudden telling me that a woman cannot be a leader. Like, how did you get to where you at and sitting in this seat right here? Like, I don't understand. And not only was the mother, but we got grandmother too.
Auntie.
Not only we got the grandmother, we got aunties as well. Yes. Not only do we have the aunties, we have the neighborhood moms.
Yes,
not
sir.
only we have the neighborhood moms, we have the educators. Not only do we have the educators, we got the mothers of the church.
Yes.
You know, that's just within our culture.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand how no one can tell me without me looking side at them is that a woman cannot be a leader. Like, we gotta get, like, since I started working since I was 16, I probably have more women leaders than I have more male leaders.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that like we should just cast men out or anything. I'm not saying that, but for what we 240 years old now?
Yes.
Which as a country, we're around 240. We have nothing but male leaders.
Yes.
And where are we at now? So you can't tell me that a woman can't lead. Can't lead, I don't think any worse. I think she definitely is going to be a better leader. I also think that a lot of black men, and this may be kind of strong here, but I think sometimes our ego is very fragile as black men. And I had a conversation with someone and said, "Oh, America is not ready for a black woman to be president." And my words with them was "fuck their feelings," and that's just how I feel. Yes. I feel like, hey, just fuck your feelings. Your feelings got nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? This is 2024.
Come on,
it's
now,
not
preach.
1824. It's not 1924. It's not 1970. It's not 1994. It is 2024. For us to, as men, and especially men of color, to be talking to each other about what I don't want to vote for a woman, then you're just a weak person. And I probably have some of these people who are very dear to me, and I'm not apologizing for that. You are just weak mentally and emotionally. That's ridiculous to say you're not going to vote. We are cutting out half of the population. As
more than half. More than half.
Right. More than half the population to be leaders. And what are we saying? Not only do these guys were raised by all those women I just named, they got daughters, they got wives, they got girlfriends. How do you look them in the eye?
Yes. Preach. Yes, sir. Mike. Woo! Mike, follow that up. Good luck.
So a lot to unravel here. I like the proximity to whiteness. Is that a social science?
Yes, absolutely.
I need to look that up. While while you were speaking, Cameron, right?
Yes, sir.
So I just purchased this book. Is Why all the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria. We know that book from the early 90s, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
The 20th anniversary edition of this book that talks about our own self-imposed segregation incorporates Black Lives Matter, incorporates Barack Obama, it incorporates the statistics. One thing that Josh said earlier, social media, and we talked about being raised by women. I would not be in this seat right now, living in Charlotte, North Carolina, had it not been for my mother coming into those schools in the Bronx and beating the shit out of me because I acted up. And then when I thought I was slick, I would go across the street to my aunt's apartment on the other side of the Bronx, and she would send me right back to my mother and say no. So, this whole notion, and what has really irked me this cycle is I have a thing about some things are good to talk about only among the family.
Yes, agree.
What you all have talked about earlier was this whole notion of colorism and the standard that Kamala has had to go through. Is she black? She's not black. She's not black enough. It is the most insidious and ridiculous statement because we did not invent the one drop rule, right? So that's but on a fundamental level, her father's a black Jamaican. So if you can't go with one, then her father's a black Jamaican. So what has happened is the media has capitalized on this and brought their cameras inside of our barbershops, our beauty salons, and have made us look like we're dysfunctional. Now, we know we're dysfunctional, but now you're bringing the cameras into the barbershop and letting the world know that we have a problem with each other. And I see it from both sides.
Yes, sir.
I see it. Jerome, the picture that I posted yesterday, you saw my family tree.
Yes, sir.
My grandmother looked like Estelle Getty from the Golden Girls. My mother looked like me, and my grandmother looked like Jerome. My great grandmother looked like Jerome.
Yes.
And yet they were all part of the same lineage. So for us to have these debates about color, when all it is meant to do is divide us, it plays right into the systematic division that was part of the makeup of this country. Now, I will say this. I love America. I love being an American, but I'm not naive.
Most definitely.
Right? I'm not naive to the work that has to be done, and we have to do it with forums like this, Jerome, yes, with what my brother's doing in Hawaii, what Ja does through poetry. And I will end this segment by saying I am proud of my daughter who now has moved back to Harlem 25 years ago, 25 years of age. This is her second election. She asked for a mail-in ballot. So I got her the mail-in ballot. And we're going over not only the top of the ticket, we are going through the judges, the legislative representatives. We're going through the referendum that they try to slide in here in North Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Read those referendums, please. Please.
And I'm taking her through this because while she has not had to struggle, because we made sure of that, I have made sure to let her know that it took something to get it. And then my son is 9 years older. So my son is teaching, coaching, and administrating at my old high school, which is, to me, blowing my mind.
That's beautiful, brother.
My son is the head coach at my old high school, and I'm like, wow.
That's amazing.
So what's happening is he's running into the old folks from my neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. And while he didn't know, he knew some of it, but now he's getting to know, yo, your dad was this, your dad was this, yo, your pops, yo, what's up with your pops?
Yes.
And he's now seeing me in a different light. So now when I speak to him, and we talked about this, making sure that we communicate and making sure they understand the sources of information.
Yes. Yes.
Jerome, you and I work with financial services. We vet everything.
Yes,
we have to vet. From a marketing perspective, we have to vet. So we tell these kids now, yo, don't listen. How many times did all these artists die because people believe it on Facebook, right? Every week somebody will die because
yes. And people posting this stuff and people are believing it.
It only takes is just some reliable sources, 3, making sure you understand and making sure that they know what to do with the information. That's the thing for me. making sure they know what to do with the info. And I'll end that segment with that. But Jerome, I appreciate you for having me on this, because these brothers right here, man, are inspiring me, because I'm taking notes.
Bruh,
I'm an avid reader. I'm a nerd. I just look cool with it, right? So people don't understand that I'm a nerd, but I'll just end this with this. I tell people all the time, do not get it twisted. Conrad talks about street smarts. I can wear the suit, but I can wear the Timbs. And the thing about it is that education level gets me into places where I can articulate, and I don't have to use street vernacular, but I can cut them up with words because I'm educated.
Bruh, you know they used to call me, and Ryan is in the chat. He started it, corporate thug, right? That was my name.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, I am from the streets, right? However, when I need to handle business, it is handled, right? So yes, we I already know what
I
it
believe
is.
it was Erykah Badu who once said, don't let the incense and the herbal tea turn into a blunt in the quote 45. And that's just how I try to live my life.
I love that. So I'm gonna kind of twist something, especially having Cam on here. So I want to start with the other three brothers before we get the Cam on this, because I think it's so important when we hear what have so and so done for us, right? Now, me personally, my thing is, well, what have you done for you? What have you done for your community? What have you done after the election and you got in there who you wanted to get in there? What have you done? Do you know where their office is? Do you know their telephone number? Have you galvanized the community so that you can go and ask that person in your community who is of your community? Have you asked them for what it is that you want that's going to serve your community? Jai, I know you have. I already know. But brothers, talk to me. What is the things that once we get Kamala in office and we get those down ballot individuals in, what should our people be doing after that? I'm gonna start with you, Conrad.
So I think definitely we have to continue to educate people on the importance of voting and the importance of elections. So I think Atlanta's a great place for this. Had we not had Fani Willis in office,
right.
And I often tell people that's probably my best vote in my life.
Got you.
And I say that because her was in the position to hold 45 accountable,
right,
for trying to influence the election. I had a classmate of mine who was Facebook friends, and of course he supported Trump all the way, and I'm cool with that. You support him. I'm not cool with supporting him and knowing he is trying to he tried to nullify my vote. Like right. This was right. My county, Fulton County.
Specific to Fulton County.
My vote.
Yes.
And you're cool with that. So
right.
I can't talk to you no more about that.
Right.
So we really have to truly educate all of us on the election process, the importance of voting, and even in the importance of running for certain positions, even as a school board, county commissioner, city council person, whatever it may look like. We definitely want to see us to continue this momentum and continue to get us in positions in which we can be in, I guess we can say, in where the decisions are made. Yeah. We got to have representation. If we don't have that representation, then all the people will make a decision for us that we are definitely not going to like. And really, sometimes you can't even get upset at them because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We got to respect our communities. I am huge on community. We got to stop throwing trash on the ground.
Come on now.
We got to, when we see kids doing something, a quick example, and I'm going to get out the way. My 15-year-old son was at a football game last week. He's in high school, but he was helping the middle schools out. We was outside of the stadium. We was just talking. Some of the parents was talking. A young man walked in between two adults talking. Now, we know back when we was growing up, there were ramifications and consequences for that. But however, one of the parents said, "Hey, young man, just walk around." I guess he didn't like that. the mom came over and said something to one of the parents that I was with, and like, why are we doing this? Like, we got to get to the point where we can truly lead our community, and some of us can't be so sensitive that someone is talking to my baby enough. No, we're teaching your baby.
Right.
We're teaching this young man, because one day he's going to have the baton and he's going to run this race.
That's left the community. Yes. Yes. Go ahead, Joe.
You know, this is always a touching spot for me. Brother Cameron, I'm gonna show you something really quick. This is a book that I just wrote that I helped put together with young. I want you to see the name is what it's important because of where you are. It says Remembering Lele, right? Lele is Lahaina before it was colonized, before they gave it the name Lahaina. This book is inspired by young people. They wanted to do something for the victims of the fires in Maui. They wanted to do something for that. I got the call. I jumped on it. That book is their poetry. I only added mine because I wanted to support their movement. I'm saying that to say this. I know that the work we do as coaches, especially, right? Even though I'm a creative writing coach, I'm still coach.
Yes.
And what the coach is the fill-in for parent on so many levels, because coach actually helps the kids get back in line with the household.
Yes.
So our job as coaches is far beyond whatever we're coaching them in, because we're teaching them life. We're teaching them responsibility, teaching respect for themselves and others, right? Going back to your question, what we should be doing, in which I'm believing that's happening here anyway, but this is just in general.
Yes.
The idea is reminding these students, these young people, that I don't know what you did before you got here with me, but the moment you take me on as your coach, you are a leader.
Yes.
And you have to lead from the position that you're in. And that comes with responsibility. You can't be on my team without responsibility. But it's responsibility outside as well as inside. Because if you're not being responsible out there, you can't bring it in here, bro.
Yes, sir.
And when we start to do that, they're going to remember that. You know what I mean? All of us who play sports, you remember one coach.
Yes.
For sure. You might remember all of them, but there's one that said, look here, man, you need to stop playing the fool and get in here and do what you need to do.
Yes, sir. Put in this work.
There was always one. When we start to do that, it reflects on not just them, but the other adults on the outside looking in. Because I don't care what you say as a grown person, when you see kids magnet to a grown person, you may not want to be like that grown person, but you want that energy.
Yes.
You want them young people to love you like that. All of us. I remember seeing teachers that every student went to, they come back after graduation, they married, they come see their 5th grade teacher, 4th grade teacher, because they played a role that made that kind of difference.
Changed the trajectory of their lives.
It changed instantly. Instantly. When they start to see that, now it's like, now the next thing is, okay, well, not everything you do, but what got you to be like that?
Right.
Why do you walk in those shoes? Why is your confidence like that, coach?
Yes.
You didn't play in the pros.
Where's that?
You're not a poet laureate, right?
Yes, sir.
But you're doing some things and people are respecting. Why is that? And what do you do? How did you get there? Those are the footsteps, because then when you say, you know how important your vote is, they're listening.
Yes.
Because they're watching the movement. They watch how other people magnet to you, how other people respect you.
The energy.
All coaches that are good coaches, they can come in the middle of a fight and the kids will see their face, and it stopped when we were young. Tell me I'm lying. Instantly. Your moms might have been there and you might have still been yelling. When coach showed up, you stopped instantly. I don't care if your dad, your grandpa, whoever was there, coach show up, you stop instantly. That's the mark we got to leave in these kids. And when we start doing that more so, not just saying because we're doing it, right? But when we start doing it on every street corner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Then the gangs that in the area start walking the old people home from the store.
Right.
Oh, there's sister so-and-so is walking. Get out of here. Get that out of there. Put that down. It comes back because they see it by leadership. And that's what you need to be. That's it.
Love it. Thank you, brother. Mike.
Hey, so what Job made me think about is we don't need a title to be a leader.
Mm.
We don't need a title to be a leader. Conrad had said something earlier, and it resonated with me with the sensitivity and being able to teach these kids. I work at the community college here in Charlotte. I'm not on the curriculum side, I'm on the business side of the college, and I have a lot of flexibility. One of those flexibilities is I get to use the fitness center for free. So I don't have to worry about gym membership. I love going there. And Josh, if you ever want to work out, just let me know. Meet me at CPCC downtown. But yesterday I was at the fitness center, and then the gym is right outside of, Josh, you know the facility, you know the gym at CPCC. We just did that gym over. Now, I'm a state employee, and, you know, it has its pros and cons. One of the things is that I'm a state employee, and that's a good thing, right?
Yes, sure.
And I see these kids these brothers walking into the gym. I guess they had an open gym. The floor is shellac. Now, I come from the old rec center in the Bronx, in the Harlem and rec center, and there was rules to this thing. Number one rule is you don't wear anything but your sneakers, your basketball shoes on that court.
On that court. Correct.
So I walk in, and I don't care if the court had planks coming up. I don't care if it was all, you just don't wear anything but sneakers on. So I walk into this gym, and I look at this brother, he had Timbs on. Now, in today's society, you always have to think twice. But I said to her, wait a minute, I got this little badge on here that says my name as an employee of this college. So I walk up to the young brother and say, my man, you can't be wearing Timbs in this. And he looked at me, and then right away he said, you know what, you right. And I said, while you at it, when you go change out your shoes, pull your pants up too. Right?
Right.
And everyone is looking at me like, who's that dude? I don't care if I don't ever see them again. But that moment, let them know that when you walk into this gym, do not come in here without anything but what you're supposed to have. And that's accountability. Jerome, to your initial question, what I would like to see us do once we get past this election cycle, hopefully it'll turn out where we have a change in leadership for the better. I think one of the things that are really important to me is affordable housing. How we can get into helping the visionaries, the leaders like Cameron and Honolulu, the people that make these decisions. Affordable housing is an issue across this country. Preservation of historical neighborhoods for the Black, Brown, Latino, Indigenous, disenfranchised people. There are neighborhoods that are being swallowed up. I know it here in Charlotte because I live here in Huntersville, but on the Beatties Ford side, Josh. So I go down Beatties Ford I don't even take 77. I go down Beatties Ford, and I've been passing Johnson C. Smith for 20 years, and I've seen the transformation.
Harlem.
Well, I'm going to get to that because I was there this summer, and I was sitting there minding my business, but I'm never minding my business because I'm always listening to people.
Right.
So we out there, I just moved my daughter back into her apartment, and I'm out there, and this cat is talking about Harlem, and I said, his brother, and I'm talking to him, I'm listening to him, and I decided to jump in and insert myself in the conversation. I said, let me tell you about Harlem when Harlem was not this.
Right.
I said, you talking about this pristine Harlem. I was here when it was New Jack City.
Yes.
I said, and we are losing it. I said, there is a legacy, and while there were some bad times, but it still belonged to us.
Yes.
And that is happening in Philly and Atlanta and Chicago. We are losing because we've never had the resources to retain that. So for me, preservation of our historical neighborhoods is important. And I go back and forth, like I said earlier, to Harlem a lot. I mean, I stay in Harlem.
Yes, sir.
And somehow I'm having some type of input from Charlotte to kind of just teach. That's all I'm doing, just teaching. And the other thing is, you know, we talk about generational wealth, but if we never had wealth as people, then there's no generational wealth. I'm a big advocate because of my professional training, creating wealth, investing, and then having financial planning. And I'm pulling up a paper, y'all can't see it. That little piece of paper is my benefits for the new year, in which I tell my wife, if something happens to me, this is what you are entitled to.
This is the plan.
From insurance, retirement planning, etc. Michael, you know, I don't want to talk about this. I said, that's the problem with our people. We don't want to talk about it. But if I'm no longer here, this is what you're going to do. This is what I worked all my life for, to take care of you, take care of the children, take care of the grandchildren. We don't do that enough. And, you know, Jerome and I used to work at the same company.
Yes.
They taught us the blueprint
Taught us that.
on
Yes.
saving and for retirement, on saving. And I'm blessed, but I know my people aren't.
Yes.
So any way that we can have these civic leaders understand the significance of teaching our people just the basics,
Right.
just the basics. And, you know, I'm pounding my head up against the door. I'm gonna teach my dad how to just, hey man, you got champagne taste on the beer budget. That ain't gonna work. So what my wife and I have stopped doing is when she run out of money.
Right.
She had to get to that point.
She got to learn to hustle.
She had to learn to hustle.
Yeah.
So those are the three things: affordable housing, preservation of historical neighborhoods, and how to create wealth, invest, and financial planning for our people. If we can get those leaders and we can help somehow. And a lot of times, I'll end with this, you know, when they get elected to these spots, sometimes there's cronyism and they forget where they come from.
Right. Or who got them in there.
They can come back to regular people like me and you and have us talk to these folks about that. But what they want to do sometimes is forget. They want to go with the big firm. They want to go with the big bank and have the big names in. But, you know, that's a regular simple dude. And I tell people all the time, I'm a simple dude from the Bronx. I went to public school. But let me tell you how my life turned out.
Right.
You know, and those are the three things that are big for me, and making sure that we are able to sustain ourselves.
Thank you for that, brother. And before I get to you, Cam, I just want to add just something, because as a financial professional, 30 plus years in the industry, financial literacy is vital to me. I am at a job right now. I could be in doing anything in financial services way above what I'm doing, but I'm just letting you brothers know I'm working with New York City employees, right? And the majority of New York City employees look like us. And I'm telling you, I make sure I close the door and I give them the business, right? I want I want that literacy. Every time I sit with somebody and I'm done with them, they walk out, nobody's ever told me that, or so and so told me this. So literacy is my passion. It is why I have Buy Black for Life, and I will go to my grave continuing to teach this. So thank you for bringing that up, Mike.
Hey, Jerome, real quick. Does that include Board of Ed too?
It does, yes. We'll link
So
up.
I might want to connect my son to you, because he needs some guidance on that area.
You know I got him. Yes.
All right.
Cam.
I think at the end, when we're just looking at what to do after the election, right? I'm just going to give you the factual things. There's a whole lot of things emotionally we're all going to feel, regardless of who wins, that we're going to emotionally want. But what are the actionable things you can do?
Right.
One thing, this is going to sound very funny, but I am so dead serious. Delete everybody from your social media after this election. Your algorithm has been so corrupted and tainted, regardless of if you had the best intentions or not, that you need to start over. Then I would tell you to never follow anybody on social media that their main job is a podcast creator, because their whole financial purpose is to make you listen. You're not gonna listen if they're recapping the Rugrats every day. No, it has to be World War III. So understand this, all right? These are actionable things to do, and I'm being so serious about how much it's going to alleviate for you.
Yes.
From there, you have to understand, elections are not a 4-year thing.
Yes.
They're every year.
Every year, yes.
Somebody is running for something every year, and you need to be doing the research to know when, where, what, and why. If for no other reason, Joe Biden has given you 4 hours on election days to take off of work. Not just a presidential. So that's also something you can do. And then finally, what we should be doing, but we're not really ready to have this conversation.
Let's have it.
What we should be doing is, instead of funneling all our big dollars into Black entertainment and its outcomes that benefit Black people, but by and large benefit an industry not really going back into our community. We need our Black 100 millionaires, our Black billionaires, and our regular Black folks. I'm talking you, because if you can go and you can pick up an ounce today, I'm talking to you. If you can run down to the store and get you a jungle juice and a ham and cheese, I'm talking to you. If you can do that, then we should have a Black super PAC.
Come on now.
Can you say that again for the people
Come
in the
on
back?
now.
We need a Black super PAC. The same way that AIPAC is able to move Jewish initiatives. Don't hate on it. Don't hate on it. Get like it.
Yes.
Get like it.
Come on.
We need a Black PAC, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be instant. No, we need 5 good Black candidates we can find across this country.
Come on.
Pour our resources into their growth and development over the next 10 years. Because what you do then when you do that, see, then you have something almost kind of to the extent of what W.E.B. Du Bois had hypothesized, that we can then have it spread out more, because those 10 people are going to hire Black chiefs of staffs in their office who are going to get the game to be able to run, who are going to meet funders who are going to be able to invest in them. It's going to become more, we have to invest in Black talent in political spaces, and we can't do it on a big level. We cannot think that Barack Obama or that Kamala Harris or insert whatever Black politician here is going to do it. No. We need to find us a mayor. We need to find us a city council member who's up to being the chair of that city council. And God willing, if we can, shout out to Maryland, we need to find us a governor.
Yes.
And we need to go in for that. That is what we do next. That is how we keep ourselves from coming back here. And that's how we ensure that our group, regardless of whether it's set or not, we know we're always going to get something out of this. We have too much political talent that has been squandered for the millions and billions that we put into entertainment, that we could give a good 300 million would go a long way. But that would be in my closing statement, what I would say.
and just adding to that 300 million is pennies. We can raise that tonight.
Pennies.
We can raise that tonight.
Yes,
I'll tell you right now what it costs for an average state Senate race in my state is only $125,000, and that's extreme.
Wow.
Imagine how many people we could put in office. But unfortunately, guys, I got to jump because I got soccer practice now. I got to go.
No, thank you. Anytime. I'll hit up your
top. Anytime. Hit me up. I'm so
love you. You have dropped some nuggets on us. Thank you. Be safe out there. Do what you got to do with them youngins. We appreciate you.
Oh, and before I leave, shout out Phi Beta Sigma and Tuskegee University. All right, I'm out.
Listen, Conrad, your son know how to drop the mic, man. That was wow.
I need him with me all the time. Like every time they say something to me, I just.
The beautiful part about it is that, like, kids don't know. Like, we don't know what we're doing with our kids, really, because they don't come with instruction books.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Only thing I'm just trying to teach them, and I'm really trying to teach them about, being African. Like, I wasn't raising boys. I'm raising African American men. I used to tell them that all the time. I'm not. Like, you're gonna spend more of your time as a Black man than you are as a Black boy. One of the things I told them one day is, like, you're gonna stop being cute, and you're gonna see people start walking across the street. And you be like 12 years old, you're not cute no more. You become a threat, and that's sad. But I got to teach them that so they can survive. And I remember one time we was in a store in the mall. I had to buy me a belt, and I noticed this guy following us around. Right? I'm like, hey, they was like 10 and 11, like 9, something like that. And I was like, 85. Like, nah, you tripping, Dad? Ain't nobody follows around. I said, come on, let's go for a walk. That guy went every place we went, and that woke them up, I think, to what I've been telling them.
Yeah.
And so we used to have this thing, like, I don't know why we do this. I just would ask them just random questions on a Sunday, and they call it like Sunday conversation. And, it just got them to be more involved in what's going on around them in politics. I have another son, Conrad Jr., CJ. He's on the more of the sports side, but he's also very much, matter of fact, CJ is working at the poll in
Wow.
Memphis
I
on
love
election day. And he's like,
Love
I wish somebody would come up there acting crazy. You know, so it's just that type of mind. My daughter, you know, and I leave her out. She's down in Columbus, Georgia, and she's at a Harris rally down there, you know. So I just
love
really
it,
just
bro.
tried to educate them to being just to being more politically aware, because like a lot of people went through a lot for us to be sitting here.
Yeah.
A lot. Them four little girls in Birmingham,
Yes, sir.
they sacrificed everything for us. You know,
Correct.
them kids at that park in Birmingham who got sprayed, the dogs,
Yes.
it was for us. That wasn't for them.
Exactly.
And then for some of us to want to, excuse my term, want to jack it off, it goes all through me.
Gotcha.
So I'm definitely blessed as a father. I definitely am, you know. So I'm definitely proud of all of them.
I got two questions. One is a comment, kind of, but then I want to wrap up because, man, this has been fire. And Conrad and John, I know we've done some things, but this I'm gonna have to watch this again. That's how amazing like this was, like for real. So, and Cam brought this up before he left, where we talk about black men that, you know, are we being set up to be the excuse if Kamala doesn't win?
No, of course, I think so. And the sad part about it, even if like 85% of probably black voters are going, well, 85 are going to vote for Kamala. That 15%, and some is going to be black males as well, is definitely going to be, you know, something said about that. Unfortunately, you know, but at this, I don't understand how we even are at this point where this is something that they can even go for. If you're voting for him, you don't know your history. It's just that simple.
It's that simple.
You don't know your worth.
Right.
You don't know your value. There's just something is wrong with your mental, your emotional state. And I don't mean to be rude to anybody, but that's just how can you vote against someone who is telling you, who has showed you what they are about?
Yeah.
Just on the fact that he wants to give police immunity. Just on that.
That alone.
Just on that.
Alone.
Just on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they even understand what police immunity means? That's why I was talking back about education. Do they even know what that means? That means police can do what the hell they want to.
Right.
And they're not held accountable.
Not held accountable. Exactly. Ja, what about you? What's your thoughts on the fact that maybe what we're hearing in the media about black men is a setup for if she should lose? Because they said this in 2020. I clearly remember hearing it. They were ready to put the onus upon our communities. What are your thoughts about it's being a setup for if she doesn't win to put it on our people, in particular black men?
I absolutely believe that's what it is, and what's so disheartening. I do more TikTok lives than I do anything else now because I learn a lot and on there, and then you get to really see people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll try to be brief with this. The first thing I was seeing was, and it's crazy how this works. So follow me here. The first thing I was seeing all the time before the Diddy and all this mess, right?
Uh-huh.
Before Kamala got the go ahead to go, right?
Right.
It was black men don't want to marry black women. Black men this against women. It was already an agenda. And people who on TikTok, you know this, before they even mentioned, before the debate, when they say, okay, Biden, he's got to step down. Before that happened,
right.
Every day on TikTok live, it was black men arguing with black women. It went from the passport bros.
Yes.
And some of them are very disrespectful to black women.
Yes.
But this is what was going on, right? So when they had all these black men talking about, oh, she did this and she did all this in California without having facts.
No facts.
Also, without understanding that her job as a prosecutor is to do what?
Prosecute people. It's the case.
You can talk about the whole American United States government for that.
Okay, as someone who is a law student, you prosecute the evidence.
The evidence.
Go ahead,
it wasn't
brother.
like she was just going and picking up random people and say, okay, I'm going to put you on. This was on her desk, and this is
Yes,
what
sir.
she did. That was her job, and she did it, whether
Yes.
we liked it or not.
Right.
So I saw all of that happening before it even came out that she was going to run. They had already created the scene.
The narrative. Yes.
Now you have a lot of, the narrative's already done. Now
Yes.
you have a lot of black men, truck drivers, that come on these lives, driving their truck, and they talk just horribly about black women until I get in the live. Because when I'm in the lives, well, they don't let me on some of them because I shut it down.
Yes, sir.
Because there's a thing I said some years back that I got a lot of backlash with, and this is talking to black women. And I'm saying black women because I'm not in the community of other people other than black women. If you're Latino, you're black. I'm not going through all of that. Black women. And I posted on Facebook, I'm trying to remember the wording, but it was basically for black women to stop calling themselves the B-word.
Come on now.
Sister hits me back, oh, well, why are you trying to police the speech of black women? I said, well, hold on, let me ask you a question. Is it okay for your daughter to stand in the mirror and call herself, well, she's a kid. So because you a child, you grow out of being respectable of your own self. I was blocked that day.
Yes.
But I'm saying that because when you have the opposite sex arguing about who's controlling who, you already lost it.
Yes, sir.
Black men ain't never had power over black women.
Never.
Ever.
Nope.
Never. Especially in this country. Hell, we don't have power over our damn self. So how we got power over you? Right?
Yes, sir.
Then the next thing that came up, Jerome, was should black women submit to black men? The most dangerous and lethal conversations you should have. First of all, I'm going to be quick. If you're with a woman and she's not submitting to you, there's two things you need to be concerned about. The way you're directing her, and if that's even your person. And if those two things check out to be what it's not to be, of course she shouldn't submit to your ass. Get going. And I'm sorry for cussing.
No.
But here's the thing. I saw this happening way before. I didn't know what it was. But I'm a words guy. I'm listening.
Yes,
and
sir.
I saw this happening. You have so many black men up here saying she ain't because of California. Here's my thing. It's not enough of them to sway the vote.
Gotcha.
It's not enough of them.
Yes, sir.
That sister is sitting here. Isn't she AKA?
Yes, sir.
Part of Divine Nine.
You know how
Divine Nine is not staying home. You are a fool.
they move different.
Listen.
When they are united, they move this planet.
That's how we got the civil rights movement.
Come on.
So I was fearful initially, and I'm gonna tell you why most people are fearful. And I'm gonna end here because I'll talk about this all day long. We're fearful because we spend too much time listening to the what ifs. What if? I'm not saying you shouldn't be prepared, but it's not enough what if for me to say, nah, it's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you, when you look at who's standing for her, how many, and the people that are coming out, Beyonce just was on her and did a live show.
They lit that place up in Houston.
If you think, let me tell you, last thing, Michael Jackson was going to do his last tour overseas in all those Islamic areas, right?
Yes.
I'm not even going to get into all of the different theories that they say what happened, but let me say this to you. Michael Jackson was reverting to Islam.
I did know that.
Michael Jackson would have stepped in the Islamic continent, I'm going to say a continent, anywhere on the Islamic lands, and said, La ilaha illallah, there's no God but Allah. You know how many people would have changed and reverted to becoming Muslim only because he did that?
Yes.
Beyonce said, this is my girl right here.
Yes.
If you don't know the Beehive, Google it tonight.
My wife is a member.
If you think Kamala is going to fail with the Beehive,
I'm married to a. I went all the way to London for the Beehive, so that tells you all you need to know. Not even here in the U.S., Mike. I went to London for the Beehive. So you think I don't know? Come on now, yes sir. That woo, mic drop. Mike, what about you, brother?
Yo, my daughter came back from New York to Charlotte when Beyonce was here. Broke can be, could have sold those tickets for $800 at the time, but her behind came all the way back on that budget airline, got stuck in the terminal in Charlotte Douglas, couldn't get home, but it didn't matter. She was at the concert. So I know what she's talking about. Woo! Woo! And she was sitting next to the dude that she had broken up with because he couldn't sell his ticket. So they sitting there, they no longer talking, but they both got the tickets and they both went. I was like, this craziness. But
oh man, I love it. I love it.
Man, let me just say this. I'm not prepared to say that we're being set up. That's a very thought-provoking question, though. I will say that. What I surmised in the short time that I was waiting is I believe that as a community of people of color, Black people, Latinos, we are doing what we have been trained to do, which is continue to divide one another.
Yes, sir.
So we find ways, like Josh said, to make this schism between us for no reason whatsoever that makes sense. The media will say that because they'll have so-and-so with the board, and the board will tell us who voted for who, what demographic didn't vote, blah, blah, like they're doing right now. They'll bring the statistics. There is a part of me, to Josh's point, that there's just this haterism among men for our Black women.
Yeah.
And it permeates our communities, it permeates our society, and it keeps us, man, I have no issue being led by a woman.
Amen.
I have no issue working under because I understand shared leadership. If I do what I'm supposed to be, to John's point, then I don't have to worry about the prosecutor putting me in jail. Or the board telling me, Mike, you didn't do your job. If I'm doing what I'm supposed, I make that person shine, man, woman, or whatever. I try to be low maintenance so that I could be someone you don't have to worry. And then that gives me the freedom to be me.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
Listen, man, Josh said it. What we talk about, the what is too much, man. We as a people have done so much damage to ourselves that it is easy to get lost in the sauce. But the division for me is what is holding these brothers back from, to Conrad's point, me, John, and Jerome grew up under this whole Trumpism. We saw what goes on. We know this dude. Ain't nothing changed. Yeah. Ain't nothing changed.
Right here in New York City.
Like this.
Yes.
I mean, even if you, I get lost for words. Like,
yes.
I spoke to a young person today at a coffee shop, and I'll end with this coffee shop in Noda that I go to here. And the young person was talking about the election. Bottom line is, I said to the individual, young lady, she was mixed race, and I said to her, at the very end of the spectrum, at the bottom line for me is, there is a decorum for leadership.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I may not agree with every single policy that a person may have, but do they have the decorum to lead?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And are they open to other ideas?
Yes, sir.
That's the benchmark for me. Decorum for leadership. You know, Jerome, you know me, yes, in this creative space that I've been into. One of the things that I've been able to establish myself in this theater space is I don't operate the same way y'all used to.
Yes, sir.
If you don't show up for rehearsals, let me just put it to you like this. I had a show at App State. The dude, one of the actors had done something that we didn't squash.
Right.
He thought it was squash. I don't know how he could think it was squash. He showed up. He didn't understand that it wasn't squash, that we had to address it. Right. He was resentful that I brought it up. I said, you know what? You're not even going on stage tonight. I said, here's your money, and you can go back, because guess what? I've already prepared for you not being on stage.
Oh man,
because I I have a standard.
Yes, sir.
To the point now that my crew here in Charlotte will tell people that want to be down and say, "Nah, you can't work with Mike because your background, your work ethic, Mike ain't gonna tolerate you."
Work ethic.
That's the accountability. So we have to be able to set the standard, and at the end of the day, stop the division, because we are all in this together. Conrad said it earlier, man. We are all in this together, man. We're in the same boat.
Yes, sir. Love that.
And Conrad, I want to stay in touch with you because you're in Atlanta, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, sir. Morehouse right around the corner from me.
Bro, that's why I do this, for connections as well.
Yeah.
Trust
all
me.
Right. And
intentional connections. That I know what I'm doing with this, brother. Trust. I know what I'm doing. But I just want to wrap up. And John, I'm gonna ask you to go last. And when I say why, you'll understand, right? Right now, in your close, I'm gonna start with you, Conrad. You're speaking to Kamala, and you're speaking to other women, black women, right now in your close. Right? Tell me what it is, in a sense, your love letter and your words off the top of your dome. And John, I know you might have something written, so if you do, please share. Off the top of your dome, what would be your love letter to Kamala and to black women who might be watching right now?
Oh, it's easy for me. Believe in the power of you. Just that simple, just that direct. Just believe in the power of you.
Love it, brother. Love it. Money Mike, MG, brother, what's up?
We're here for you and we support you and we got your back. That's it.
I'm going to go before Ja because I don't want to follow him.
You're off. Your mic went off.
Certain things that we do that you don't want to go after the killer. I'm not going after the killer. I'm going to let the killer close us. But I just want to say, black women, we as black men, we love you. We support you. We got your back. We got your front. We got your side. There are black men out here that will lead in the right way. There are black men who will die in the streets for you. So do understand, black woman. Do understand, Kamala. We love you. We got you. Ja.
Bro, you know what's so incredible about that question? Whew.
I know the synergy, bro.
I wrote a whole series. First, let me say this first. My poetic journey stems from my mom.
Yes, sir.
Her face is on the cover of my first poetry book that I published. I have such a different love for black women after going through what I had to go through as a black man with black women.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't always dogged out. I wasn't always right. But I had my share of some things.
Yes, sir.
Even still, I understand that without a black woman, this world does not exist. I have a whole book that I wrote called She Is for Black Women. And I also wrote a tribute to Jackie Shelton Green, the first black poet laureate,
yes, sir,
woman of North Carolina State.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to read a shorter poem that I have that I wrote for black. And when they find you after the bruising, when nighttime becomes your best friend, and secrets leave your eyes for pillowcases and crucifixions, by the time they find you, you would have already been rebuilt. Taught yourself how to love with a numb heart and war decorated across your dreams. Sometimes tugging at the voice you once knew when they find you. Open wounds and love songs misspelling your name. Mirrors forgetting your skin. Parents and spouses have already taken all you had left. Bloodlines somehow fallen from your family trees when they find you, woman, still standing, unbroken, biceps stretched to cover broken promises and brutal breakups. Selfish acts that tore you to punctuations when they find you, black woman, after the storm. hair unwrapped but still attached, teeth clenched to hold back tongues and screams and setback comments that slice opinions and egos all at the same time when they find you beaten, cursed by unworthy persons who found a home in your love, a smile when hurt was the only feeling you could remember. And they find you fired up, one job done just in time for the next. Babies wiping tears, mothers praying for strength, fathers locked in whatever this broken system allows them when they find you, handcuffed to those dreams. Seeing some crushed by weak men, sorry lovers, angry, hungry persons, anyone taking what they could, you had already promised when they find you solo. God's promise sealed around your wishes. Courage dressing your molars and holding your backbone in place when they find you, woman. Only then will they know. Lost has never been your name. Cheap has never dressed your shoulders when they find you standing on solid ground. Holy water in your favorite purse, written in history they have never learned. Unable to break the fragile bend in your wrist. Remember who named you, who sculpted your hands, who gave you his first language, he who once placed you as precious as a prayer and allowed those eyes to grace your lovely smile when they find you, Black woman. Know that you were first and you are always and you will forever be our best.
My brothers, first
Yes,
of all,
indeed.
let me say I'm humbled to be in your presence. I thank each of you for always being a yes. I normally don't do politics on Buy Black for Life. I've been moved to do it because I love us. And let me just say, I thank you, all of you, for not disappointing. And we will follow up because you all have lit a fire. So I thank you. I love you, kings. I will ensure we all connect and remain connected. Mike, I got you. Um, I love you, brothers. I wish nothing but amazement and chill. And I am sure that next week we will be celebrating the
Most
first
definitely. No
Black
doubt
and
we will.
Asian woman to be our president so that a Black woman who raised me like me, who brought me out the hood, can lead this country out of the
Yep.
garbage in which it is. So thank you, brothers. I love y'all. Be safe. Have a wonderful evening.
All right, you guys too. Enjoyed it.
Salute, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Jerome, thank you so much. Doc, good seeing you, man. I'm gonna run into you.
Mike, yeah, give me a call. You still got my number.
No, give it to me now. Give me yours now.
We'll do it offline, or Jerome will text it to you for me.
Yeah, we'll do it that way.
That way, it ain't out there for somebody.
I got you. I got you.
And we'll do it. I'm gonna give my contact information to Jerome so that all of everyone has it.
Everybody will get it, bro.
Jerome, I'll be in New York.
I'll send you guys a Facebook request also.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
Mike, link up with me if I'm in town. I'm going to Dallas this weekend. Link up with me and let's see if we could, politic, bro.
Yeah, I got 2 trips in November, and I'll catch up with you on those.
All right, brother.
All right.
Stay
Later,
up.
y'all.
All
All right.
right.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Later.